Tell me he didn't just say that.
What's going on, everybody? We are back. UWO has returned. It's the show from Smacked Raw where I go ahead and scour the depths of Twitter for the hottest of hot takes about professional wrestling. I bring on a collective bunch of friends of ours from various other podcasts and wrestling promotions, and I read off your tweets live on air, and then everybody's just going to have fun. Either dunking on your tweet, telling you how garbage it is, or if you actually might have something and maybe you got a point in there and we want to push it through. I am your host, Kyle Tyson. I'm glad you guys could join us. Joining me today, very wonderful people here. I have the man that still needs to answer our cease and desist letter from Smacking It Raw, Mr. Matt Ritter. How are you, my friend?
Good. Here and maintain that you have it backwards. We came first, which is the only time in your life you're going to hear that.
Fucking dick. Oh, my God. Another friend of the show who's, Lord knows his favorite jobber is Jackson Riker. I cannot say enough positive things about this man. Yeah, actually, I probably can. Friend of the show, Mr. Warren Hayes. How are you?
I'm very good. Thanks again for inviting me, Kyle. It really is a pleasure to be here because we had talked about this quite a bit, and I had the last time I was on your show, we had so much fun, and I was really excited to have a chance to come back. I'm glad you're bringing it back, even if Matt Ritter's here.
Even so, and people bugged me about it, and I wasn't sure. I was like, you guys really like it? We do the same thing over and over again, but I mean, I'm glad to know that you guys have fun. I'm always just on, I just read Twitter, on this show, man. I have the most boring part of this entire thing. But yeah, I'm very glad to bring it back and have you on, of course, for the return episode. And then everybody else, chef by day, wrestling fan by choice, Mr. Will Gray. How are you, Will?
I'm good, man. I'm enjoying the chance to come on, have a chance about chatting some wrestling with you guys, and get rolling with it. See how it goes.
Yeah, it will. Thank you once again coming out. I don't mean to share this, but you have this show has a great milestone that we're returning, but you personally have a great milestone you're about to overcome in February, don't you?
Absolutely. I'm 3 weeks away right now. I'm finishing a huge battle with leukemia. I've been MIA and on the bench for about 8 months, and I'm coming out of the head right now. I'm about 15 treatments away from cashing out. 120 total rounds of chemo over the last 8 months. Oh. I am in remission, and all we're doing now is just finishing kicking the ass. So, I mean, it's good and ready to go. It's a good way to start 2022, that's for sure.
Congratulations, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Fantastic, man. Fantastic. I honestly, dude, I genuinely, I couldn't imagine what you're going through, dude. And I'm super, super happy for you. And exceptionally grateful that you're taking the time in the midst of all of that to even come on this stupid little internet show that I produce. So I really appreciate it, my friend. If you guys aren't familiar with how this works, once again, I have a collection of 15 tweets that I've pulled off of Twitter. I'm going to read them off in succession, one at a time, at which point Warren, Will, and Matt will debate amongst themselves whether or not the tweet is trash, or if you have some merit, like we said, we'll put it through. And yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. Before we get to it, don't forget, if you're watching this on YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button and that notification bell. Leave some comments. Me, myself, and RN and everybody, we will hop down in the comments and chat with you. If you're on the live chat over here on twitch.tv/SmackedRaw, please feel free to drop your unpopular wrestling opinions in the live chat. I will be going through them after every fifth tweet on the show. I will be referring to the chat to see what you guys are saying yourselves. But without further ado, let's go ahead and kick off the show. Tweet number 1 coming in from @Blade__MCG. He states, to enjoy WWE, you have to watch it like you did when you were a child. Some people are too jaded to be able to do that and have no joy in their lives. Do you guys have to try to watch WWE from the perspective of a child to enjoy the product?
I'm very confused by that tweet. Is he saying that you have to be like man children to enjoy it? I honestly, I don't get it. I don't understand what he's trying to say.
Once again, to enjoy WWE, you have to watch it like you did when you were a child. I don't know if that means in your underwear on the floor or with the same.
Yeah, do you have like
capacity.
Go-Gurt? Yeah, with juice boxes. I don't understand. But is he saying okay? But then he talks about being jaded. So probably we have to return to all the magical times when everything was all beautiful and pretty, and the weight of the world did not fall upon us. I don't like it's like here. If I'm sitting down to be entertained, like regardless of how how much adulthood has fallen upon me and my responsibilities and whatnot, I don't. If I'm going to be entertained, I'll be entertained. That's all. It'll be just as simple as that. I don't think I have to dumb myself down to enjoy WWE.
I completely agree. I feel like to a certain extent, if you watch it with that same joyfulness that you had as a child, like when I think back to when I first started watching wrestling in the early 90s, like Flair showing up on WWF TV, getting ready to win, like leading up to him winning the Rumble, all of that. If I watch wrestling with that same mentality now, I mean, I still watch it as a fan. Yeah, I kind of watch it from a more analytical approach for the podcast and for the shows and getting into it. But when it boils down to it, I'm still a fan. But I wouldn't necessarily say you have to have a childlike mind to appreciate professional wrestling.
And he's basically saying the product is for kids. That's Correct. What he's saying.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's saying. He's saying for you to appreciate professional wrestling, you have to look at it from the mind of a child. So if you watch Grey's Anatomy,
he said WWE, by the way, not professional wrestling. WWE.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
The huge difference between pro wrestling and sports entertainment, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I agree. Like if you watch Grey's Anatomy, you don't have to watch Grey's Anatomy from the perspective of a doctor. Like if you watch pro wrestling, you don't have to be a child to appreciate pro wrestling.
Fair.
I'm going to agree with Warren and Will here. I still enjoy WWE. I sit down. There are things I genuinely enjoy from WWE. Yes, I am jaded, but I also still have joy in my life, and I do not watch it from the perspective of a child. I don't understand that thought process that you have to have the mentality of a child to enjoy this product. And if you don't have the mentality of a child, you are just a unhappy, soulless, jaded piece of shit is what I'm getting from that. And anyone that tweets that out may be an unhappy, soulless, jaded piece of shit.
I mean,
so as we do over on Pornhub, I know we normally yeet things here. I'm spitting this one. I'm going to spit this one real quick.
The tweet is still very fascinating. Is he like, I don't know, is it a dunk on WWE or is it like not
dunk on the IWC?
So this to me, it strikes me as it's dunking on fans taking analyzing things too seriously. I think in a lighter sense, I don't mean to toss one of my co-hosts under the bus, Bama, but Bama always says that he's able to turn kayfabe on whenever he watches professional wrestling and enjoy it, kind of like that aspect. I feel like this is a much more aggressive tone of that mentality.
But that's the thing is I still enjoy it. Like I still find things when they do good things, when they do good, entertaining things, like I still enjoy them. Warren and I both loved NXT Black and Gold. I still love parts of 2.0. There were so many great things, and that was a WWE product that they've done. Bianca Belair this last year at WrestleMania, the Royal Rumble win. When WWE does good, fun shit, you enjoy it and you get invested. When they created the Fiend character, I didn't sit down in front of the TV with a bowl of cereal, but I still fucking loved it and was excited and hyped about it. It didn't take me back to being a child, but I was still able to enjoy it. You don't need that mentality.
No, and another example, a bunch of us were talking about this earlier today. The Otis Mandy Rose angle that they had going was a blast. I still maintain that it's probably the best creative thing they've done over the past 5 years, because it was really, really, really fun and some nice little twists throughout, and did not go down the road that we were all expecting. So it's what is it? What are we yeeting? Are we tossing in the trash? Like, what is the action?
Yeah. No, it's you guys answered this a while ago.
Okay.
Blade _ MCG, you piece of shit that tweets trash.
There we go. That's maybe that not so hot. Like, I don't know the guy.
No, absolutely. Saying it right now. We're just trashing it. He absolute piece of trash.
Oh, by the way, Will, if you don't know, anytime that we trash a tweet, the yeet sound effect plays. It gets yeeted off of the show. I don't know why that information. I needed to inform you about that, but just giving you a heads up.
You should go back and watch it.
Yeah.
There should be a good yeet. If there's always a yeet, somebody needs to have a sound effect for it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that one got yeeted. All right, let's move on. Tweet number 2 coming in from Jose Hostar, or Jose Joestar, excuse me. Very simple, to the point here. John Cena is a better actor than The Rock. Oh, juicy. I mean, we did just get Peacemaker. And another film
we did just get Peacemaker.
John Cena bears his bare ass once again.
Is that the mark of a great actor?
Maybe. It's a mark of something. I'll tell you that.
So I don't know if you can look at it from this perspective as being great or not, but this is one of those situations where you go, look at the scoreboard. Like, The Rock didn't make the money he made by being a bad actor. Compare that to what John Cena's done as a movie, like as an actor in movies. Like, just look at the scoreboard. Like, if John Cena was better than The Rock, wouldn't he be getting more roles? Wouldn't he be getting these bigger steps? Wouldn't he be hitting these milestones? Not taking away from anything inside the pro wrestling world, but in the just using acting as your base. Like, look at the scoreboard. Like, that's all there is to it.
I agree with Will. Here's fact of the matter is, if you look at the feud from The Rock and John Cena, where John Cena talked about The Rock going to Hollywood and all of this, John Cena is following in the steps and trying to catch up to The Rock and has not got there yet. And until he surpasses him, and we're talking film roles, let's say, John Cena wins an award for acting or makes more money than The Rock in a year, he's not, by no measurable metric, is he a better actor than The Rock. And the argument always is The Rock plays the same character in every movie, which isn't true, but a lot of the characters are fairly similar. But if you're good at doing something and it's making you a shit ton of money, why do something else?
Streamer says Batista's better than both of them.
That part
trash.
I will agree with.
That I think I would agree with.
No way. Batista's nowhere close to The Rock.
Oh no, I think he's much more nuanced.
He has way more range than The Rock does.
Yeah.
Putting You Over is hosting our stream. Thank you, streamer, by the way. Thank you for that.
I think it's too soon. Because, look, everyone remembers John Cena's exquisite performance as Fernando the Bull, right? The mwah, mwah, everyone's that's the first one. It's the iconic John Cena role, right? At this point, I think it's too soon to really put them down like head to head who was better, because I think just The Rock has had, out of sheer volume, many more roles than Cena has at this point. But I think that because I think that that John Cena is just coming out of his Scorpion King era, where The Rock started with these, The Rock had shit roles to begin with too. And I think that's what he's moving slowly out with. Everyone's everyone really likes what he's doing in Peacemaker. I'm not going to lie. I haven't seen the latest Suicide Squad movie or the show yet. But I've seen a lot of great stuff. I don't think box office equates to being a good actor. I think it means that you market yourself well, that you're charismatic, that you're putting your names to the right blockbusters, so on and so forth. And I think The Rock is The Rock is special. He's a force of nature in that respect. Let's have this discussion next year when maybe Cena has a couple of more roles in him. I have a feeling he has more range than The Rock, but maybe not as much as Batista, because I do agree Batista is a much better actor than both. I really do. So I don't know. But at this point, I think I'd go with The Rock because I don't think we've seen Cena enough.
What was a better movie, Fast 9 or Hobbs and Shaw?
I haven't seen Hobbs and Shaw because it looks like shit. I mean, quite frankly. I saw Bumblebee though.
And how was that?
Yeah, no, we'll go with I'll go with The Rock.
I have to agree. You've got to go with The Rock there. It's just, if anything, you have to look at, like he was saying, sheer volume. Let's look again in 2 years, 3 years. It might be a different perspective, but right now, I don't feel like you can't argue the fact that The Rock's had a more successful career at this point than John Cena has. Okay. In the acting realm.
Well, you can't see Cena at all. Katie Kins says she couldn't help it, could she? She couldn't. We almost got through that entire take. We almost got through it.
Yeah, there had to be that one person to make that joke.
Yeah.
Of course, but she's from Pittsburgh, right? So what are you gonna do?
Yeah, she's still hurting right now over the Steelers getting knocked out. All right, so let's go ahead. Tweet number Jose Joestar, man, deactivate your account because your tweet's trash. There we go. Tweet number 3. Let's see. This one they actually even stated in the beginning. Unpopular opinion. This is coming from @KeeganRW. It says Kenny Omega would have been one of the very few people that would have flourished in WWE the same way AJ Styles did in his first year. Kenny Omega would have come into WWE and flourished year one. What do you guys think?
No.
I feel like
I think we're all sort of being polite. Like, who wants to take this first?
Yeah, no, I've got something, but it might. Maybe you guys want me to go first, so you guys can disagree with me. I've said it from the get-go. I've never seen Kenny Omega, from what I've seen of him, as the greatest wrestler in the world. I always said in WWE he would have been in the mid-card, in the IC title range, and that was as far as he was going to go. It is great that AEW exists and New Japan and all that, where he has a place where he can wrestle the style of matches that he wants against the opponents he wants and showcase the talent that he has, but you don't do that in WWE. They don't allow you to do that in WWE, and because of that, and the fact that he's not really that good on the microphone, he's a mid-carder in WWE and no better. And his fans are going to hate to hear it. I don't give a shit. In WWE, and only in WWE, Kenny Omega is mid.
I completely agree. I feel like, stylistically speaking, when you take his style coming over from Japan and even the stuff that he did when he first came over into AEW, I don't feel like he would be. You would almost look at it like a Finn Balor coming over as the Prince. They would take it and they would almost have to reshape it into something they wanted it to be, because the character wasn't going to be there on its own. You couldn't come over as the cleaner and expect the cleaner to get over in WWE. It's just not going to happen.
No.
Yeah,
absolutely not. I mean, Vince is the problem. Vince would have been the problem. It's just as simple as that. Vince would have looked at his curly hair, because his squinty eyes and be like, he wouldn't have got it. He got AJ Styles. And let's not, here's the thing, a lot of people say, oh, the pop that he got at Royal Rumble, that was the thing. No, it was the matches he worked with John Cena, because John Cena wanted to work those matches with him, that got AJ over with Vince. That's what made him understand. So if there's no John Cena to lobby for Kenny Omega. Like, and Vince looks at Kenny and he's like, "What is this? Who is this guy?" He's like, "No, you're going to NXT 2.0. We're gonna call you the Unicorn." And then they'll have him put on, rainbow boots or whatever. I don't know. Hooves. and that'll be the end. And
you ever catch a V trigger from a man in hooves?
Would it have any extra impact? Because the hooves aren't on knees, Kyle. I don't know how great you are with anatomy, but I'm starting to doubt.
He may have been able to spring into it more, man.
I see what you mean, like a Billy Goat.
Yeah.
And there you go. Billy Goat Kenny Omega.
Except
there you go.
We've have him as Kenny Omega for 3 to 4 years, and then they want to change his name to something like James Francois because he's Canadian.
Exactly. Yeah, some kind of dumb. No, but no, he absolutely would not flourished. No, he would have tanked.
Mm-hmm.
Will, what you think?
No, when I started with my thoughts, and I'll stick with it. I feel like if you took him from the New Japan Kenny Omega and you tried to bring him over, WWE I've said in an article I wrote previously, they have an identity crisis. They won't let somebody come in. It's almost like they have short-term memory loss. They wouldn't want him to come in with any of his clout from before. The AJ Styles thing's a little bit different, but they're going to want to make you forget that he existed anywhere else before he come to WWE. There are very few guys that they bring onto the roster now that they're allowing to hold gimmicks from previous organizations. Kevin Owens used to be Kevin Steele, Eli Drake, LA Knight. Like all of these guys are coming in and almost having to redo their whole characters. And you have to feel like Kenny Omega would fall right into that trend. If he came into WWE, they wouldn't want him to be the same guy he was in New Japan. Vince would want him to be WWE's version of it, whatever that ended up being.
I agree.
Yeah.
Stick him in the Alpha Academy. Change his last name to Alpha. Kenny Alpha of the Alpha Academy.
Seriously, though.
Yes, there it is.
Straighten his hair.
He's the dean of the Alpha Academy. There you go. And then Shane Douglas starts writing angry blog posts on his Tumblr somewhere.
What's new?
Oh, Keegan RW, you tweet's trash.
Sorry.
Not quite as mean to this one, though. Not quite as mean to them. Tweet number 4. From Bonafide Heat, we see this person on Twitter pretty frequently. By the way, this is in a reply to somebody else, so if it comes across a little funny, I'll paraphrase it. But it says, all AEW wrestlers should follow your lead and let professionals handle their accounts. Essentially, AEW wrestlers should all have social media managers, is what this tweet is going to That is the tweet.
So I've already kind of talked about this. Wrestlers don't need social media managers. I don't understand why people in the IWC, and this is me included, think they can just go and say whatever the fuck they want about whoever they want. And then when they reply in a way that they don't enjoy, well, now you're bullying me and you're being mean to me. If I go out and I call Matt Riddle a piece of shit on a weekly basis and Matt Riddle sees it and says, Matt Riddle, go fuck you. Your name is stupid. I deserve that. I earned that. That is on me. I am not going to be like, well, Matt Riddle needs a social media manager because he hurt my feelings. No, I fucking asked for it. Tony Khan, on the other hand, definitely needs someone to take his fucking phone away. He needs a social media manager. He is not a person. He's not a character. He is the president. He's a corporate entity. He is somebody who should not be tweeting directly at other wrestlers or spilling the business behind the scenes in front of the rest of the world like he is a wrestling fan, even if he is, because he has higher stakes in this. But the wrestlers, if you come at them, they're going to come back for you. Sorry you said something stupid. They made you look stupid. That's on you.
Chris Jericho comes after you because you call him fat. All right. Well, you called him fat. What are you going to do about it? Kind of thing. There are certain key members of the AEW staff, however, that I would agree would benefit from having someone managing their social media. I think Tony Khan is indeed the top example. I would extend the same type of advice to their brand manager, who isn't great at Twitter, but then you do have wrestlers who have, and it's like the whole. I don't know if this is in reference to the Kenny Omega stuff that occurred. You know, there's a difference between. Like Matt said, there's a difference between wrestlers being dicks to people gratuitously or being accused of being a pedophile and sticking up for yourself. And that's okay to me, right? But you know, there are other wrestlers who have the self-awareness to be like, hey, we're gonna pull back a little bit. Ergo, Nick and Matt Jackson. Nick and Matt Jackson, excuse me. I'll enunciate better. Like at some point, we're like, oh, you know, we're just gonna stop tweeting, and they had the brilliant idea to just new bio, and then no one can respond directly to, like, they're just like, we'll just put a thing there and let the internet burn, and that's the best way to go about it, honestly. But not everyone, because I think Thunder Rosa does a very good job. I think she needed a break, but I think I think she's very good at Twitter. I think she's very good at social media. I think Evil Uno is very good at it as well. There are wrestlers who know exactly how to go about it, who know how to use it. But I think there are key members of the AEW brain trust that would benefit from it.
I completely agree. I feel like certain people need to have access to that. I feel like as the individuals go, though, I feel like it would be based on, like you were saying, certain individuals need that help, certain people don't. And I also feel there's been stuff with wrestlers who are being soft because fans are coming at them. And I also feel like that it's kind of the double-edged sword there. And I don't want to come across as an asshole, but when I say this, like, how can you be a bad guy on screen and then get butthurt because somebody comes at you from behind a keyboard? Like, kayfabe's a thing. Like, you have to hold strong some. Let's, like, Alexa Bliss, for instance, like, she breaks kayfabe by opening her eyes when she signs into her social media profile. She doesn't cover any of her character work. She doesn't do anything to kind of be who she is on screen when she's not on screen. She completely blows it all. Do I think that sometimes, yeah, it's detrimental to the business if they just go AWOL with their social media? Sometimes, but no, they don't necessarily have to have somebody there to manage it. You're an adult, do your job. Like, don't just blow it. But some people do, however, need a little bit of coaching involved to let it go. And I didn't mean to branch out from AEW specifically with Alexa Bliss, but for some reason it came to mind when I was thinking about it. Like, you can't, it's hard for you to carry that character over when everybody sees you, like, drinking your soy lattes with your pet pig or whatever. Like, it's hard to believe a character like that.
But then again, like, I don't mind, like, that part. I really don't mind. Like, MJF is, you know, probably the only guy who just carries the whole thing the whole way through, right? And I think that's a choice. But you know, personally, it doesn't really bother me that Mustafa Ali, you know, that dastardly Retribution heel, you know, takes beautiful pictures with his gorgeous children at their birthdays and posts them on social media. Like, it doesn't bother me because the veil of kayfabe has been lifted. Where I apologize, BamaDave, by the way. I'm sorry to say that to you. But
wait, it's not real?
No. Sorry.
Wasn't that the first tweet we talked about? Like, first thing we yeeted out of here was that. The only thing I have to say about what Will said was, I disagree on the part where if you're a bad guy on TV and then you're getting butthurt when someone says something on the internet, because if you're a bad guy on TV and someone yells something to you in the crowd, you're going to respond. Like, you're not just going to ignore it and let it go. So it actually kind of carries over and leads to your character by responding and being a dick back.
No, just to clarify, what I meant was the people, when they got butthurt, like, that'll deactivate Twitter and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
That's what I meant. No. People like MJF do it the right way. They'll bark back. Seth Rollins has done it in the past. Those guys do it like that. That's completely, I get that.
Poor
What I'm
Baron
saying
Corbin
is, like,
doing it to an armed service member of all people. he could have barked back at, man. That was sorry. I didn't mean to cut you guys off. I just
No.
it made
But
me
I
of
think
that
you
time.
misunderstood. Yeah, I think you misunderstood what I was saying. Like that kind of barking back is okay, but what I'm talking about was when they get in their feels about it and they start like deactivating and disappearing and going off because of cyberbullying. And it's a very real thing. I'm not taking away from that, but I feel like if you're a heel on TV, you should expect that online and not let it get to you. I guess that's what I was saying and just didn't deliver it correctly.
No, okay, I'm with you on that. And then you have the whole conversation of mental health and
and I'm just
But it still leaves this tweet bona fide heat. Sorry, man, this tweet's trash, buddy. Get it out of here.
3 for 3. Kyle's got to be so happy right now.
4 for 4, man. 4 for 4.
4 for 4.
Yeah, man. You guys are so far turning into some of my least nice guests, and I appreciate that. Tweet number 5, and then I'm gonna run over to the live chat, see what's going on over there. Tweet number 5 comes in from Chi-Town Smark. Says, just found out that former WWE champion Kofi Kingston lost clean to Madcap Moss. Where are the diversity police that only monitor AEW?
Oh no.
Oh boy. Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Some of these they can't all be.
All right, Kyle. So I know what you brought me on here for, and this is what I'll give you what you want. First off, I'm fucking embarrassed that you even have Chi-Town in your fucking handle. This whole WWE, AEW, people aren't fair, blah, 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 blah. Bullshit is exactly that. It's bullshit. It's not one-sided. As a matter of fact, I personally, also from Chicago, came out and said, why the fuck is Kofi Kingston losing to Madcap Moss clean on TV? This is bullshit. And we had a whole discussion on it. It is discussed. Diversity police, that backhanded, backwash bullshit. I fucking hate people like you who try and take something that actually is important and matters, that people are trying to bring attention to, that has been part of wrestling since its inception, and they're trying to fix it, and you shit on it and act like it's not important and it doesn't matter, and people just want to whine and cry and you're fucking trash. You as a person are fucking trash.
Yeah, I mean, that pretty much...
Okay, Will's going to follow that. Okay, fine. I'm good with that. All right.
Yeah, I mean, that pretty much sums it up. I mean, it's... You can never... That's what... Like we were saying previously about the mental health situation. You have to really tread this water lightly and walk on eggshells around it, because even if you disagree with the wrong thing or say the wrong thing, it immediately becomes a bigger thing than it needs to be. I just feel like you've seen Kofi just speaking from a completely like different perspective. We know Kofi has lost clean to people in the past. Right now in this situation, though, do you feel like it was a little blinded by creative to allow it to go? Do you think they're worried about it though? Like, is that where their minds are going with it? Because is creative having to worry about jumping through these mental hurdles to make sure they're not upsetting people based on writing and creative and how people are winning and how they win? Like, are we getting to the point in society where that's what we're having to worry about now, is we're pre-planning for upsetting people?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Warren.
The whole thing here is, I would go as far as to argue that no one is doing really a good job, right? As far as quality, and so on and so forth. And I think to make it a tribal thing is stupid, and it devalues the overall argument and does not help anything, because you're saying, look, if you want to go down maybe just a side road to this, it's like people saying, well, when people argue about women's matches on Raw, on SmackDown, and on Dynamite, it's like, well, we got one match, but we got two matches on SmackDown. Yeah, but one of them was shit. Look, they're not doing a good job regardless, because the target is equality, and that's not what we got. So if you're trying to argue from a lower bar, you're just going to keep the bar extremely low, as opposed to the real argument, which is, why don't we just have parity? Why don't we just have equality? Because ultimately that's what the target is. Not this one has more matches than the other, and this one was longer. Let's get our stopwatches. This has nothing to do with that. that's where we're going. So this kind of, because I'm kind of, as far as the quality of the human being who tweeted that out, I cannot attest as strongly as Matt did on whether they're a quality human or not. But I will absolutely agree that it's a bullshit tweet that's only purpose is to lower the importance of an argument and make it into something that is unnecessary and brings no value to the argument.
So he's in the chat, and he said my rebuttal was he's trash. No, my rebuttal is using the term diversity police as if there is not a diversity issue in both companies, or saying that no one needs to talk about the diversity of AEW, which, by the way, AEW specifically came out when they started and talked about how they were going to be more diverse and so on and so forth. And there are very, very much diversity issues there, along with the idea of making it a tribalist thing, because yes, there are diversity issues in WWE. We've talked about them. They've been talked about. As I said, I've talked about them. I am more so upset by the fact of the term diversity police, because you are belittling the argument that there is a diversity issue, and there clearly is a diversity issue. And if you don't see it, I don't know how to help you see it, but it's there in both companies. But it shouldn't be one or the other. It should be wrestling as a whole.
Yeah, man, I got you, and I think with that being said, the tweet is clearly trash. Sorry, Chi-Town Smark, even though you're in the chat, it's a trash take, man. You got to own these whenever they come across. Okay, so with that being said, yeah, every now and then I like to throw one of those in there. One of the bigger ones, instead of just like so and so is overrated. Yeah. Going back to the live chat, honestly, I didn't see anybody put in any other unpopular opinions. It really is just a streamer over here talking about GCW, which I really wish I had known GCW was airing tonight ahead of time. I would have probably planned this out a little bit different going ahead.
I'm waiting to start the replay.
Yeah, no, I'm going to be watching it the moment I get off the show with you guys. Yeah, but once again, you guys, anybody that's in the live chat, if you have any unpopular opinions that you want to leave for us, just go ahead, leave it in the live chat. We will come back to it after the next set of 5 tweets. Moving on to 6.
Number 6.
Oh, from putting you over, Miss Vanessa at Miss_Wiper. AEW is a t-shirt company with a wrestling gimmick. Every Dynamite and Rampage, 3 to 4 new shirt designs are released to pro wrestling tees. Are they a t-shirt company first and wrestling company?
It's a shit t-shirt company they have. That's for damn sure.
No, what a maneuver, that's for sure.
No, hell no. Props.
Yeah.
They're not a t-shirt company. Are they affiliated with a t-shirt company? Absolutely. But are they a t-shirt company? No. That honestly, in the inception of AEW, I have bought 2 shirts from a t-shirt company. So if that is their goal, is to be a t-shirt company and be successful, they are failing miserably.
I think it was a funny meme in 2019. Honestly, I thought it was a funny meme back in 2019 when they were running one show every 4 months and they had like boatloads of merch, and I think, but is this like are we taking these memes seriously now? Is it like a real take? Are we supposed to? Because no,
it's a palate cleanser for the previous tweet, my friend.
Yes, no, I know
what I mean.
Yes.
It's very much a palate cleanser.
Kyle knows what he's doing.
No, I think too. I don't think you can't look at it like that. Maybe at the beginning, early on, yeah, but merchandise is merchandise. People are going to make money. They're going to want to put somebody's face on it and sell it just about no matter what. But to call it a t-shirt company seems like a stretch. I don't buy it.
Oh,
no.
Man.
Like if anyone is tweeting this out seriously at this point in the game, you're 2 years too late on the joke.
Well, I do have a question for Will and Warren. I don't know if you guys are reading the chat, but Vanessa's there for putting you over, and she said, explain why Colt Cabana's still there. So
I don't get
You
that
guys can
one.
explain.
I was trying to
Well,
decipher
because
what they meant by that.
Colt Cabana is affiliated here in Chicago with Pro Wrestling Tees.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yes.
I got you.
So if it's not a t-shirt company, why is Colt Cabana still there, saying that he doesn't have value to AEW outside of that?
You'll notice that Colt Cabana's overall presence has been mightily diminished since the arrival of CM Phil.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I feel like they have such a large roster anyways. Like, there are guys that we never like, and obviously developmental people are coming up, but you take a Colt Cabana who hasn't wrestled in a TV match in God knows how long. Like, they have guys like that all the time. I mean, the 10 members of the Dark Order, break it down. When was the last time you saw like Vance get in the ring? You know what I mean? He just did the tag team match a couple weeks ago, but that was the first time in a long time that you remember him breaking into the ring. Evil Uno's kind of the same way. These guys that are on TV once every now and then Colt Cabana, who hasn't been on TV in like 15 years with a 3-year-old company.
And
Like,
he has, as opposed to like Uno and Vance and Silver and Reynolds, he hasn't had like a solid real program either, you know?
yeah.
And Tiny Hands and Reynolds Rap, because he's with Tiny Hands, are the only ones that really get on TV. And the only reason Tiny Hands is on TV is because he's friend zoned by Anna Jay, and she needs him there to, you know, make her look better.
Wow.
Man.
Why didn't you put that on Twitter? We could discuss that shit take.
Jesus Christ.
All I do is you can do just a whole show on my takes.
No, I really do. Like, when Matt's actually not a guest on the show, his tweets are featured almost every time. So,
And I think he's only got me heated once, to his dismay.
I try though. I
try.
break my whole non-biased host, and I actively try to sway my cast members whenever Matt's tweets are on here. Vanessa, your tweet is trash, dear. I love you to death, but get that crap out of here. Oh man, tweet number 7 comes in from at Yuri Meshi 1. Oh man, this is my favorite tweet of the night, by the way. Dolph Ziggler is the Meg Griffin of wrestling. Do with it as you will. I saw this tweet and I was tickled.
I'm not sure how to go about that one.
The Meg Griffin. The man's a world champion. Let's start there. Like, I mean, just the basic statement of it. He was a world champion. It may have been a questionable reign, but it still counts. He's still there.
Sure.
So I mean, like, Brian, maybe? Like a mid-card world champion. Like, I think he's above Meg, but I mean, he's not quite Stewie. Like,
So I heard you say Matt Griffin, and I was just sitting here
Meg.
trying to think, who the fuck is Matt
Meg
Griffin, and how do they know and I don't? Why am I lost?
can't-
And then I
laugh
realized
at everything. I laugh at everything.
when Will
Meg
said
Griffin.
Meg, I realized, I'm gonna agree. He was a world champion. He was twice, I believe. Unfortunately, with all of that, with him being the sole survivor on Team Cena for Survivor Series and everything like that, he, as hard as he tries to gain favor and get over with Vince and be the favorite child, just can't seem to do it.
I don't know. The Meg, because Meg's never accomplished anything. Okay, look, if you want to get it in the idea that Meg, like, everyone's always shits on Meg, and Meg, just get out of here. Like, you know, a guy that at this stage, everyone's like, not Dolph again, you know. Yeah, okay. I'll agree on that. You know, if we're being like contemporary about it, about where we are right now in our overall relationship with Dolph, I think we're at a point where it's like, shut up, Dolph, kind of thing.
I will say, if Dolph is Meg, I'm the Quagmire of the IWC. So,
Oh Jesus Christ! Yeah, that goes without question.
Sure.
Oh man, Austin Theory's like Herbert. Oh my god.
Vince
That's
is like
funny.
Herbert, and Austin Theory is Chris right now. That's what's going on.
Oh, dude, that's perfect. Oh man. Yeah, it looks like this one's actually being universally pushed through too. So awesome. Yeah, man. I was tickled when I saw this tweet. I have no idea how to say your name, so I'm gonna say your Meshy one. They like your tweet, man. Good job.
Oh, yeah.
So we
One
broke
through.
our.
Yeah,
One
we broke the
through.
streak. It took 7
Broke the
tweets to get our first one pushed through.
Not bad. Not
Not
bad.
bad. I'll take it. Oh man. Yeah, I saw that junk, dude. I laughed my butt off for a solid couple minutes. Dude, it was just the other day, like the other week. Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode compared, I forget who, but they said they were like the Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito. They called them twins. And I couldn't forgive him for that one. I'm sorry. Could not forgive him for even trying that one. Tweet number 8. From Bukamania 89. I don't care what anyone says. Disco Inferno was a great fucking gimmick. I got no take on this. This is all you guys.
Well, I mean, as a lower mid card comedy gimmick, it's fine.
It's great though. Exact word. Great fucking gimmick.
Well, depending on what you're looking for in a gimmick, yeah, it could, like, if you need someone for the 24/7 division, 100% great gimmick. Disco would do wonders in the 24/7 title picture.
Sure.
And it would be fun and entertaining. At the same time, you know, you've got people down there who have great gimmicks. I personally think Matt Riddle would be a great gimmick for the 24/7 division as well. Like, let him ride around on a scooter, talk about Burger King, win a couple titles. That's where he belongs. So in that case, yes, I agree with it.
Yeah, I can agree. I feel like to a certain extent, yeah, it's just a gimmick only goes so far. I feel like if you understand, like, the modern wrestling's lost the art of the jobber. I don't feel like everybody has to be a superstar. You really don't have jobbers anymore in wrestling. And I feel like that's kind of what the 24/7 division is becoming. So I feel like that kind of a division full of those jobber characters that just get a chance to do their 2 minutes on TV and that's it, do their spots, maybe a couple moves. But like, I feel like that would have been perfect for that. Like, but only in that scenario. It's not a great gimmick anywhere else other than the mid card.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, no one liked Disco Inferno coming out. No one wanted him to achieve heights. You know, you just wanted the guy to get beat up. That was the thing. Look, proof positive of that is like when Glenn Gilberti went to TNA, NWA TNA, and dumped the gimmick, and they tried for the better part of like 60 days to get him over as a monster babyface a la Stone Cold Steve Austin. It didn't work because Glenn Gilberti's he's a dope. He's a jerk. And his gimmick, basically, you know, I completely believe that infamous Cody tweet where it's like it was a thing to get over with the boys. Everyone thought it was funny that he was, you know, doing that thing, and that's why he maintained the job. That's why he kept the job. And you know, the gimmick was fine for what it was. Once he dropped it, no one gave a shit, and no one gives a shit about him today either.
True. Will, you said that we've lost the art of the jobber. We just got done talking about Dolph Ziggler.
Oh my God.
Touche. Fair enough.
Go back and watch our draft episode that we did too. Warren Hayes reinstates what a jobber is on that too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. I said that was tweet number 8. Yeah, Bukamania 89. Hey, look at that. Another tweet that got pushed through, man. They like it.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
So, tweet number 9. Tweet number 9 coming in from PWD__ official. Oh boy. Okay. AEW has been giving boring shows consistently.
Hit the bricks.
Not
No,
even
that's
a
it. I'm
single
done.
interesting
We're
storyline.
good. Good night, everyone.
Yeah, these guys hit it hard with that one. So essentially, they're saying AEW is consistently boring, and they don't have one intriguing storyline. That's the opinion.
How do you, I don't know how you get there, because don't get me wrong, I was not the biggest AEW fan when, like, I was very interested in it when it came out, but I didn't love it. And there are things about AEW that still to this day bother me. But I cannot say that the show does not entertain me. I was all in on Hangman Adam Page. Like, they give you stories to latch onto and be invested in. I don't know how you can sit down and watch an AEW show. I'm not saying every show is great. There are quite a few rampages that after the first match, I didn't give a shit about anymore. However, they are doing things that keep me invested and entertained. And I wasn't somebody who knew Kenny Omega or the Young Bucks before they came in. I didn't really watch much outside of my WWE bubble, maybe a match or two here. So I had no idea who these guys were coming in. Still entertained. The stuff with Miro as TNT champion was fan-fucking-tastic. Like, there has been quite a bit to where I have paid money, which I have not done in a very long time, to buy an AEW pay-per-view to watch their matches and see these stories played out. I don't just hand money out to hand money out. If you have to give me something on a show, on a pay-per-view, and then a build to that pay-per-view for me to say, here's $50, let me watch what you're going to do with it. Like, it's asinine that you sit there and watch this entire show and say nothing about it is entertaining.
You know, some people. By the way, this tweet came out after the most recent episode of Dynamite, which was actually panned as like one of their best episodes of the year so far. So it did go really. It felt really out of place. After John Moxley came out, told a fan to go fuck himself, and gave that heartfelt speech at the beginning of it, which technically isn't a story, but it is part of AEW canon. It is part of his life that he shared with all of us. This is your response. Yeah, that was. I mean, you see how it landed itself on today's show.
Yeah, I feel like just piggybacking, it's hard to say it's not entertaining when you think about people say things like long-term storytelling, and if just using Hangman and Omega, if you take all the way back to the Ring of Honor days when they were in the Bullet Club together, and you build the friendship there, and then the Elite leaving the Bullet Club and then coming to AEW, and then you build the story Hangman coming in, like, if you take the long-term story here, like, they've told some pretty ridiculous things, branching over between promotions and stuff, giving them a little bit more credit than where credit is due, because they do have some really, really rough product, especially in the early days. There was some stuff that just wasn't good at all. But if you take that in consideration with what they have done with some of the stories, like, at the very least, it's entertaining. Like, you can't say it's not entertaining at all. I mean, the stories that matter, like you were saying, the Miro stuff, the Hangman and Omega stuff, even if you build up to the Darby Allin getting the TNT title, like his story building up with Sting, like, they've had good stories. Not all of it is great, but they've had entertaining storylines all 3 years of their existence now.
So I want to know, what this individual, what this person considers to be then an intriguing storyline. Is it the very, very intriguing relationship between Matt Riddle and Randy Orton, the layers that exist there? Or is it a winking doll, and how does that involve itself into a wrestling match? Is that an intriguing storyline? What else is
Alexa
intriguing? How about Eva Marie bringing in someone from the outside and renaming her, and to bring her? Is that an intriguing storyline that makes you stroke your beard? Well, this and Sam Shepard. God damn it! It's so fantastic. I don't understand. What is intriguing in WWE these days? And look, what is intriguing in wrestling regardless? What is it? Succession is intriguing. The Wire is intriguing. It's pro wrestling. Bring it down to its most basic components. Just give us stories that are centered around the sport, that are centered around people wanting to get titles, to better themselves, to get into feuds. It's just as simple as that. And if you can't see them in AEW, then there's something in WWE that it's giving to you right now that clearly AEW isn't giving. And you know what? That's fine. That's fine, because I shudder to think what the other big company is providing you as far as intriguing storylines go. You know, is Becky and Bianca Belair, are they going to fight again? Because of course they are. That's not intriguing. That's an expectation. That's, it's building a feud. Weird.
Shame on you talking about Alexa like that, first off. Second off, I agree with most of what he says. And that's the thing about AEW is AEW gives Warren loves the wrestling. He loves the stories told inside of the ring. He wants to see a show full of wrestling, whereas I enjoy some of the more fun backstage stuff like the Alexa stuff or the promo battles between MJF and CM Punk. And AEW is giving you a little bit of something for everyone. So if Warren and I can sit here and enjoy the show and enjoy two completely different aspects of the show, then you've got to be able to find something. And if you're not finding something, maybe there's something wrong with you and not the product.
Fantastic, man. You know what? I really miss doing this show. Not going to lie. I really do. PWD__official. You tweet's trash.
Damn right.
I don't know. Warren intimidated me when he approached the camera. I backed up.
You know it's serious then.
When I'm about to go all ring goo on you. Different reaction that I'm going to have to take care of after the show.
All right. Tweet number 10. Tweet number 10. Let's see here. I forget what this one is. Oh, yeah. I remember this one now. Shoot. I'm sorry, you guys. At Ant SZN97. Rey Mysterio was all right, but he wasn't an icon. No real defining moment, just longevity and gimmicky. Not a culture shifter.
Guys, can I start this one? Please, God,
yes,
let me
go ahead.
Please. You will.
Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and go on a limb and say, one, this guy's never watched wrestling. Let's just go ahead and clarify. He's not an icon. He's the greatest luchador in wrestling history. Period. What do you mean not an icon? He's held every major world title in every major promotion he's ever wrestled in. I'm sorry. That's the most ignorant shit I've ever heard in my life. That would be like somebody saying Hulk Hogan was mid. Like when you think about high flyers, you think about luchadors, you can't argue. I see Matt's face. Okay. But you can't argue the fact that Rey Mysterio is the greatest luchador to ever do it. Think about Halloween Havoc 97. Think about his stories with Eddie. Think about when he came over in WWF, the fact that he won the Rumble from number 2. Like, he's the greatest person. He's the greatest little big man to ever do it. To say he's not an icon is just the most ignorant bullshit that you could probably put out there.
But I completely and utterly agree. Like, it's not only that, like he made Lucha Libre palatable to North American tastes. On top of that, it's not because in an environment where everyone was still huge and roided up, we always talk about, how guys like Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit, they set the stage, but Ray was right in there too. And Ray brought a very, very, very different style on top of that. No, I think I agree with you, Will. This person just started watching wrestling in 2017. You know what? I wish everyone on Twitter who dare put out these kind of shit takes would at least take the opportunity to watch some matches before 2017. That's all. That's really what I would love a lot of these people to do. Because there's stuff that I'm like, there's no way you can be putting this out without just completely outing yourself that you just started watching and you don't understand the history, the legacy of a lot of these wrestlers. I agree.
I don't want to get Kyle in trouble, so I'm not going to say what I was going to say. However, I agree with everything that both of these two said, except for the part about Hulk Hogan.
What about it?
I will argue with you all day later as to why Hulk Hogan was mid. Anyway, Rey Mysterio is an icon. He inspired generations of wrestlers. He paved the way for wrestlers that we love to watch and see now. So yes, if you were going to comment on someone who has been around as long as Rey Mysterio, at least go do your work and learn the history of Rey Mysterio before you say some dumb shit, because all you've seen is him being carried down to the ring like a backpack by his child for the last year or two. Like, that is not the entirety of Rey Mysterio. And if it was, I'd understand your point. But if you're going to comment on what is going on and there's a history behind it, learn the history before you make your point.
Was this the tweet that spurred this thing where everyone was going online saying,
Yeah.
I see some response. Just this one tweet made everyone go off to defend Rey Mysterio like that?
Pretty much. It went fairly viral.
Because I saw oodles of people defending Rey Mysterio, but I didn't see a single tweet saying Rey Mysterio suck.
I
That
had to
happens a
actively look, and I think I saw 3 people disparage Rey. And this was the only one that got traction. Yeah.
Most of the time I get on my timeline and I just see people defending something and I can't find a single tweet about what they're defending.
Yeah. It's usually one take, like one tweet went viral, and then, yeah, everybody kind of gets sparked off. That was kind of this one. This one was kind of like an unfair one, because it was either A, some troll, or B, at AntZN97. The tweet was extreme hot garbage, and honestly, you can delete your account too.
Watch some wrestling.
Yeah.
Watch some wrestling. Go pre-2000s. Go watch some wrestling. Watch the Ruthless Aggression era. Go watch it. Never mind the Brock and John Cena and Batista and Randy Orton talk. Just get in there.
I say 97's in the name, and I'm like, oh, they must be a child. And then I realize if they were born in 97, they're still like 20, almost 25.
They should know better.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You should absolutely know better.
Yeah. Oh, man. Going back to the live chat, Vanessa's here. I told her that she got yeeted earlier.
She called us amateurs.
Yeah. Katie says Jackson Riker's the only jobber you need.
True.
There you go.
Absolutely. Number 1 pick.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was pretty much it, though. That's pretty much it. All right. How you guys feeling, man?
Doing good.
Your spirits ain't broken?
No. Can't break me. I will say this. Warren said, even though Matt Ritter's here, and I want everyone to know, Warren absolutely loves me despite what he says, and I have the audio to prove it. And by the end of the show,
what?
Aside from maybe our Hulk Hogan opinions, Will's going to love me too. So
You got the audio to prove it.
Dylan,
yes.
That sounds like he kept receipts. Something's happening.
There at the very end of Mr. Warren Hayes on Pornhub, Mr. Warren Hayes says, no slight to anyone else I've worked with, but this is the most fun I've had on a show all year.
Oh, okay. So I had fun on your show.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
As opposed to liking you.
No, you love me.
Yeah. Dylan Justice is in the chat and is asking, Future Wicked. That's the name. Okay, thank you. I was like, they're asking if we roasted him yet, and I was like, I don't see your handle. Where are you? Future Wicked? No, actually, Dylan Justice, your tweet is the closer. By the way, and
stay tuned.
Yeah, it's a closer. I'll say that one. I'll tell you that right now. All right. Tweet number 11. We're rounding the home stretch here, folks. Tweet number 11 to kick us off this final stretch. Coming in from Alice in the Ring. We mentioned Hulk Hogan earlier. Well, he's back. If Hulk Hogan started wrestling today, he'd be in a tag team with Happy Corbin and be happy for the shot.
Agreed. Swallow. Yes. 100%. All in. Listen, I am not going to sit here and pretend to deny or ignore the impact that Hulk Hogan had on the wrestling industry or the significance that he had on the wrestling industry. I understand that he was for a time the biggest thing in the world. I also maintain the fact that he was the right guy at the right time in the right place, and you probably could have done that with someone else. He has one of the most limited move sets I have ever seen, and probably should have retired after WrestleMania 18 and just vanished before he ruined his legacy the way he did. We didn't need any of the Mr. America stuff. Nothing that happened after WrestleMania 18 was worthwhile. He was irrelevant in TNA. He was irrelevant, just like everyone was in the last 2 to 3 years of WCW. The only relevancy he had in WWE was really that run in WrestleMania 18. And yes, if he came back, he would 100% be with Happy Corbin, and lucky to be there, because they fucking need him. And what else are you going to do with the guy?
Here's my thing. I don't think we would even have Happy Corbin if Hulk Hogan were to debut today. Like, now we're going to get into some wibbly wobbly science fiction time travel stuff, right? Like an alternate timeline where Hulk Hogan debuts in 2022, right? There is no Happy Corbin because pro wrestling never takes that tangent. That's my theory. Pro wrestling doesn't go down the Liberace and the Rockettes angles and Mr. T and all that shit. It doesn't go down that. We don't get the WWE new generation. We don't get the NWO. We don't get any of that. So we don't get Happy Corbin. I don't know what we get, but Hulk Hogan debuts today. Look, let's say if we were to say that things go down the same path, but it's not Hulk Hogan in the 1980s that transforms the business, it's someone else, but we're still down this path, and we still, mysteriously get Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss because they're like some imperative moment in time that cannot be ever shaken forever. And if so, we're all screwed. Well, Hulk Hogan, I agree, would probably, if he's in WWE, I think he still gets a decent push.
All right, my turn. So here's the thing. All right, if he came out today in 2022, Hulk Hogan would most definitely be mid. Here's why. Vince McMahon can't write for big guys anymore. He stopped writing for big guys a long time ago. Like, think about the fact, look what he just did to Omos. Absolutely nothing. He had no build, no development. The guy can't work. The guy can't run. Veer Mahan still, he's 80,000 miles from Raw. We have no idea where he's coming in.
He fired Braun Strowman.
Yeah, he fired Braun Strowman. Vince doesn't know how to handle a big man right now. So if Hogan came in right now, absolutely he would be mid because Vince wouldn't know what to do with him. Pause. I'm going to get serious right now, Matt. Okay? Serious face. Super serious will face now. You go back to the 1980s. Yeah, he had a limited move set, but listen to what he did for the business then. Eliminate everything after WrestleMania 18, and you just look at the snippet building up to WrestleMania 3, the build with Andre, the story he told. His movesets got him over. He could talk on the mic. He had good people working behind him. Everything about who Hulk Hogan was in that period of wrestling, you can't deny that at that point, he was the apex of the business.
I agree. And I said that. I'm not discounting the fact that he was the biggest thing in wrestling. I will tell you this. If Vince had got Sting, he could have done the same thing with Sting that he did with Hogan.
I think Sting is just a better wrestling version of the Ultimate Warrior. Sting can work in the ring. That's the only difference between him and the Ultimate Warrior.
But here's the thing. The Ultimate Warrior was supposed to be the next Hulk Hogan. And unfortunately, through self-destruction and not being as talented,
just a terrible person all the way around.
Being insane. Yeah. Being insane.
Sting is not only a better wrestler, he's also a better promo. He had the charisma. You could have put Sting in the same spot as Hulk Hogan, and he would have skyrocketed the same way if Vince had the guns behind him like he had behind Hulk Hogan. I'm not saying there are a lot of guys that could have filled that spot, but there are guys. I feel like if Hogan never showed up, they gave Macho Man that push. Macho Man would have done it too, and we would have had better matches for it.
Let me ask you a question then. Do you think that Braun Simmons got the push when he did? Do you think somebody like Junkyard Dog could have done it if he was in the same company then? Like looking at it from that perspective?
No.
Because I
Wait,
mean,
are we
you're looking
talking
at
like in
guys that are on the same
WCW?
level doing the same thing, though. I mean, like that's kind of the same looking at it right there. I mean, you take a guy from one promotion, a guy look at the other. One guy has the championship going on a run, a guy from the other promotion. Do you think Junkyard Dog could have been Ron Simmons at that point? If you're going to say Hulk Hogan, Steen could have been Hulk Hogan at that point.
No, I don't think that Ron Simmons and Junkyard Dog are interchangeable, but I also think there are very different characters. Whereas Sting and Hulk Hogan, as far as the intensity and the way that they are used and looked at, were a lot more similar, which is why I feel like they're a little easier to interchange. Ron Simmons and Junkyard Dog were completely different characters in a completely different time. And there was a reason why Ron Simmons was chosen by Bill Watts for that spot. A very specific reason. There's a reason why Hulk Hogan was chosen. It's because he had all the stuff that he needed and he was there when he needed to be. But there were other guys around that time that had all of those same attributes that he had, that they still could have slotted into that spot. And I think would have been just as successful. Not a lot, but there were people.
I still like you, Matt.
It's okay.
Oh, man, look at that. That is some discourse right there. I do believe in the midst of not only did your guys, did this spark a pretty heavy debate with you guys, the chat went kind of far with it too, let's just say. But I do remember in the midst of that, I believe it did get pushed through. Oh, that's the wrong tweet. Sorry. Tweet 11. Alice in the Ring, as far as if Hulk Hogan started wrestling today, he'd be mid and be in that Happy Corbin tag team. I think you guys liked the tweet, man. I think y'all pushed that one through. Yes?
Yeah.
I mean, I know Matt did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. There we go. Sweet deal.
Jazz hands. Matt's got his jazz hands going.
All right. All right, man. Tweet number 12 of the evening comes in from Jeff Lippman. He's a reoccurring person on the show as far as his tweets being featured.
Do you have notifications on for his account?
I don't, man. That's just how often they come up. At Icarus Fell MD says, I told you the Liv experiment failed. She failed herself. The push was over. I predicted her release this year. I actually predicted it for last year. They gave her another chance. I'm surprised it took this long. Most people will just be surprised or pretend. So 2 things about this tweet. A, he fell for a fake release story where she was released, and this was a response to that. So he's tweeting this in response that he believes that she was released from WWE. However, I chose to still use it because he says the Liv experiment failed and she's failed herself, referring to this recent push that she's going through. So that's why I'm still featuring it. I just thought it was funny that that tweet is him responding to a fake story that she's been released by WWE.
There is something about Liv Morgan that really resonates with the fan base, or at least the vocal minority of the fan base on the IWC. I see a lot of love and praise for Liv Morgan, and not just because she is a very attractive young lady. She has something about her that makes you want to get behind her and see her win. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, they in management don't seem to know how they want to get behind her and don't want to push her to let her get those wins because there's something that's missing for them. But as far as viewers, I don't think that the experiment has failed. I think WWE just needs to figure out how and if to pull the trigger. They've given her so many gimmick changes, and she has tried her best to knock and do whatever they made her a lesbian with Lana. They had her bathing in a bathtub. You know, she was part of the Riot Squad. She had the New Jersey gimmick down in NXT before that. The little, backwards hat and all that stuff. Yeah. She has done everything they have asked her to the best of her ability. And I wouldn't say any of them have really failed because of her.
Yeah, I've put a lot of thought into the Liv Morgan stuff, if only because there really is a groundswell of support. Now, I've always said about her that she has, like Matt said, that intangible thing that makes her a perfect candidate for being a babyface. Like, WWE typically is able to properly build a babyface. You're come from beneath, underdog hero. They're really able to make that happen. For some reason, they're so start-stop with Liv Morgan that nothing ever takes off. Now, I think the problem with Liv does not lie with Liv, kind of like what Matt said, because WWE doesn't have a mid-card for its women. The purpose of a mid-card, folks, for those of you who are new to the world of professional wrestling, like that, the Rey Mysterio guy earlier, the purpose of a mid-card is to toss some people out there, put them in matches, heat them up so that you can create challengers for your champions. That's essentially what it's for. You test some stuff out. This is working, this ain't working so well. In WWE, there is only one way, and this is especially true for both of their women's divisions, the one on SmackDown, the one on Raw I'm talking about specifically. It's especially true that there is nothing for you if you are not in a title picture, and no one will take you seriously if you are not in a title picture. And the title picture, friends, pals, non-binary gals, or non-binary pals, I should say, the thing here that everyone is just like is interchanged in and out. It's like whoop whoop. Okay, so you're the champ now. Now whoop, now it's your turn. Okay, there's the program done. Now it's your turn, and no one ever gets heated up.
Thank you, Chubby Boy 93, for following us on Twitch. By the way, sorry.
Thank you very much. No, that's absolutely fine. It's an excellent reason to interrupt. Liv, absolutely 100% needed to be heated up. She had been losing match after match after match leading into her program with Becky Lynch. I beg to you, why would anyone be like, I believe in you, Liv, when she is a systematic loser? And again, not her fault. It's how she's booked. It is her creative. I believe there is something there with Liv.
Thank you, Dylan Justice 74, for following us on Twitch. Warren, you're getting us the followers, man.
Fantastic. Oh, I couldn't be happier talking about how to book Liv Morgan properly. That's how you bring in. Next step, let's get them subscribing. Drop a sub. Let's get some bits going. Bits for Liv. Bits for Liv, everyone. So it's, look, to wrap this up, it's not Liv's fault if this whole thing is failing. It's WWE doesn't know how to program their people, and especially the women don't know how to heat them up to be put in these main event situations. She was put in a position to fail. She really was. And it sucks for her. And I feel for her. I really do.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't think it's a creative issue with her. I feel like when it comes to Liv Morgan, she is the quintessential reason why the women need a mid-card. I've said in the past that I feel like there's an oversaturation of titles for the women's division in WWE, having 3 different women's championships. Like, I feel like maybe consolidating the red and the blue brands, putting a mid-card title in there, giving you a chance to develop the women in the mid-range, because you look at people like Liv, you're going to look at somebody like an Aaliyah who's coming in and doing 3-second squash matches. Like, give the women wrestlers the same chance that the mid have to be developed in that mid-card. And I think Liv is the person that's been stuck in limbo without having a chance to move up because of that.
Yeah.
Kyle,
What?
before you move on,
Yeah.
that tweet I tagged you in from Streamer, did you use that one?
Crap. I don't think so.
Good, because he mentioned it in the chat, so I want to address it.
I did use that. I did use that.
Oh, so it's coming up. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, that's
Okay.
coming up. Yeah, I know which
Then
one
we'll
you're talking about now.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, I think if any woman on main roster could benefit from a mid card title, it would be Liv. Like, she would be the queen of the mid card. Now, as far as this Liv experiment failing, we said no. There's no failure here. Did we?
Well, I mean, the experiment is WWE, so yes, it failed, but they're the architect of their own failure. This is not on Liv. Liv wasn't
Right.
given a proper chance. to grow in a wrestling environment, and that's not on her.
She just wrestled in the Raw main event for a title shot and then inserted herself this last week into the Royal Rumble and is still in a program with Becky and Bianca. So I can't say that it's even failed yet. Until she is released, I don't think we can say it's failed, or at least until she's sent back to catering, we don't see her again. I can't say that the experiment is quote unquote failed.
And don't you love, look at this prognosticator, this Nostradamus, right? I predicted that she's going to be released in the 2022. Is a wow. Look at this guy in his crystal ball going. Fantastic.
Oh, man. Tweet number 13. Speaking of mid-card women's titles, standing streamer from Putting You Over says that he would argue any quote-unquote the Divas title that Mandy holds down in NXT is the mid-card title. Oh, boy. Love you, streamer.
Yeah, so I understand where he's coming from saying that it is the mid-card title, because technically NXT is getting you ready for the main event. So that would, I guess, be their way of gauging whether you're ready to hold a championship, kind of like the Intercontinental title used to be.
Yeah.
So in that instance, yes, where I'm yeeting him and his whole fucking tweet is calling it the Divas title. I love you, streamer. I really, really do. You cannot call it, because there's a negative connotation when you call it a Divas championship. The Divas championship existed at a time when the women didn't get the time to wrestle and the matches were 3 seconds or 3 minutes long and their entrances got cut or they got cut. This is a championship that is used in the main event, regardless of how you feel about Mandy Rose. You know, not every champion everyone's going to fucking love. I personally enjoy the shit out of Mandy, and I think they've done a great job of taking what they want Mandy to be and also showcasing that she can wrestle. She is not a Warren, give me a talented Japanese Joshi wrestler that I've never seen before.
Maki Ito.
Yeah, not what we're getting there. But for what they need their ribbons division down in NXT to do, she's great. She's doing a great job. It's not a Divas title, because then now you're putting Io Shirai, you're putting Ember Moon, you're putting all of this lineage of women that have held this title down on a lowered platform of what and nothing against a Candice Michelle, but the wrestling is far superior to when Candice Michelle was holding the title. We're not doing pillow fights and lingerie matches anymore.
Yeah, I think like it's whatever, I really don't have a strong opinion either way outside of the title in and about itself, because look, you may not like who's holding it, that's one thing, but like Matt said, Sasha Banks, Bayley, Io Shirai, you can't. You can't go ahead and be like, I'm going to devalue the title down to here just because the person who's currently champion is someone that I don't necessarily care for. That's a very mid attitude.
What you got for us, Will?
I completely agree. Comparing it to the Divas title is kind of a trash take. I mean, it's definitely not the prestige of the Raw or the SmackDown title. It's just that doesn't really make sense. I feel like what the NXT Women's Championship carries, it doesn't carry the same like regalia that it carried when the Horsewomen were there or when Io Shirai had it. It's not carrying the same one.
Or even Asuka.
Asuka.
When Asuka had it, it was the talk of the town.
It's not carrying that, but it's still there. It still represents it. But that kind of goes what I was saying previously on the last question. There's just too many titles with not enough main event style women to carry it.
Yeah. And NXT 2.0 may not be regular NXT, but the championship and the lineage is still the same.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And you have to respect that. You have to respect that they are doing that they're not just deciding to erase the whole thing. Because
let's not forget that Charlotte Flair won a Royal Rumble and then challenged for that NXT championship against Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. That is not something
time
that
the NXT heavyweight title has been defended at WrestleMania. Exactly. That's the only time it's ever happened, and it was their women's title.
That's amazing, actually, if you think about that.
So eat that shit, please.
Yeah,
That's what he gets for drunk tweeting, which I think is all of his tweeting.
Streamer, I'm sorry,
But-
buddy, but it is a trash take, buddy. We got to eat that shit off my show. I still love you, though. All right. All right, so here we are on the second to last tweet of the night. I was really in between these two as my closers, because I do like both of them for different reasons. I do like both of them. So, tweet number 14 coming from at 301 King Von Jr. Shawn Michaels is more important to wrestling history than Ric Flair.
Ooh.
Oh, whoa. Whoa.
I will agree, and I'm gonna take this stance. As great as Ric Flair is, and as many championships as he has held, and the things that he has done strictly career-wise, a lot of people didn't really know, like, outside of that Southern wrestling until WCW really blew up, not a lot of people knew who the fuck Ric Flair was. You go back now and you look at his legacy different than you did at the time he was building it. In the NWA, in the territories that he was going to, yes, he was this big, great thing. However, when you look at Shawn Michaels, you look at the careers that Shawn Michaels has made and created, the matches, he is a founding building block that helped build up the giant, however you feel about it, massive global billion-dollar company that is WWE. Rick is great and Rick has a legacy, but that legacy is looked back upon better than I believe it was taken as it was happening. Whereas Shawn Michaels, through the entire time he's wrestled, in-ring wise, has always been considered one of the greatest, and Mr. WrestleMania, the show stealer, so on and so forth.
Warren, you want to go next?
Okay. I honestly think this is a very, very, very interesting tweet, and one that it could be a thesis, really, like, honestly, because when you like two completely different eras of wrestling, two draws, like you like, even like on the basic economic side, you cannot disagree that Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels in their time, in their prime, were both draws for the company, for the companies they work for the territories, in Flair's case, for the NWA. Like, and legendary matches, I would even go as far as to say, Flair created Sting, he made Sting into what he is. His matches with Harley Race are legendary. His matches with Brody, Bruiser Brody, his matches with Ricky Steamboat are revered, right? I think the one thing, because honestly, I have trouble, but the one thing that would make the needle push more towards Shawn Michaels is that Shawn Michaels helped open up the idea of smaller guys being main eventers in wrestling. And I think that's crucial. Smaller, athletic, faster, quicker guys were suddenly abandoning the big roided up dudes, which Vince wanted to get rid of for a bunch of reasons. One of the reasons called the FBI. But it did, but Shawn was there to prove that the smaller guys could draw, and Mr. WrestleMania, there's a reason for that. That's why he headlined so much, and so many of them always had these incredible, outstanding matches. There's a reason why one of the IWC's favorite debates, and one of mine as well, is Shawn versus Brett, who was better. It's like there's reasons that we still talk about Shawn Michaels on that level as well. If only because he sort of helped shift the paradigm a little bit. I think I'd go with Shawn Michaels, but slightly.
I'm gonna go with Shawn Michaels, and here's why. When you look at the perspective, you were talking about the two different eras of wrestling. Shawn Michaels was lucky enough to come in at the height of when TV was really starting to take off. If you think about his career leading up to 92, before he put Jannetty through the window, everything, we got to see Shawn Michaels coming up on national television. He put Jannetty through the window. He became HBK. He started on this meteoric push to become who he was. Okay. If you take Ric Flair, I'm not saying you could this isn't a remove HBK and put Flair in his spot and it's going to be the same thing. Flair didn't come up in that era. If you weren't from the Southeast, you weren't watching Crockett, you weren't watching, Georgia Championship Wrestling and a lot of the stuff from the Southeast, like the Mid-Atlantic stuff. If you weren't watching that, then you really didn't know. Like you were saying, Flair wasn't that guy, because in the 70s and 80s in the buildup, if you look all the way back to 75 when he took his first Mid-American title, people had no idea who Flair was because there were 26 territories in the country.
Right.
Shawn Michaels came up in the WWE. We saw his whole career develop. We saw him put Jannetty through the window, and then he took off. Like, we got Shawn Michaels' whole career, but by the time WCW took off, Flair had already been a champion for 20 years. Like, it's almost, I don't want to say an apples to oranges comparison, but their careers as a whole, because of the two eras they came up in, it's hard to compare. But just for the record, Shawn Michaels is the greatest wrestler to ever do it.
Well, that'd be Bret Hart, but.
And to address what I'm seeing in the chat, yes, you would probably be able to walk down Times Square and ask 100 people HBK or Flair, and they're going to know Flair. But again, that speaks to what I said, is Flair is better known after he retired for what he did than he was known when he was doing it, whereas Shawn Michaels, when he was doing it, was known as the guy.
But I think the question was the importance for history, right? As opposed to,
the tweet is very short and sweet. Shawn Michaels is more important to wrestling history than Ric Flair. Yeah.
See,
completely agree. Yeah, I can say, yeah.
Like I said, the only thing that really makes me tilt the needle a little bit with confidence is the idea of him being smaller guys suddenly taking a bigger part in being in the main event, being in the top of the card. I don't think it's necessarily a ratings thing. I don't think like it's a Monday Night Wars thing. I think like you look at the legacies, right? Ultimately, if we're talking about history, then it's legacy. I really think that's Shawn's main contribution to pro wrestling. It's breaking that vision that only huge, unbelievably muscled men can do it.
Yeah.
Somebody said when HBK was doing it, Nitro was winning the ratings, dog. And you were right, they were, but it wasn't because of Ric Flair. I will tell you that right now. It was not because of Ric Flair.
And if we're talking about importance in history, it's not a head-to-head ratings war. Look, ECW was not a profitable wrestling company. Okay, ECW was not a company that worked. It was always failing. It was consistently bankrolled. Paul Heyman, wouldn't pay his guys. Like, it is not a successful company. But the impact, the history, the legacy of ECW on the business is undeniable. We talk about Hulk Hogan, but the evolution of wrestling in the 90s to what we have today, it has ECW at its roots. So regardless as to whether they had national television or they didn't have the pay-per-view buys of WWE, that it doesn't matter. If we're talking about history, legacy, importance, ECW is instrumental. It's not necessarily a successful promotion, but it is instrumental nonetheless. Yeah, I see the guy. He's talking about ratings, but that's not the point. That's not what we're talking about. In the time, whatever. But the influence, the impact that these people have, these are legacies. If we're talking about history, this is what it's about. If you watch the GCW Hall of Fame, Independent Hall of Fame inductions last night, they were talking about Dave Prazak and Shimmer that were doing women's wrestling, all throughout the 2000s. Well, he was selling his DVDs. He didn't have television. But you look at it today, and Shimmer is instrumental to the evolution of women's wrestling as it is today. I mean, you only sold 500 DVDs within 2001. Who gives a fuck? Like, that's not what we're talking about.
Oh man, I love it. Yeah, 301 King Von Jr. Man, they love your tweet. I was really intrigued by this one when I saw it.
Very good. I
You.
like it.
I said thank you like I can take credit for it. I literally just screenshot the shit. Oh man.
Oh yeah.
Now listen. Okay, so we're gonna do something a little different here, you guys.
Oh boy.
We're gonna do something a little bit different before I do the main tweet. Where I am going to privately share with you in the group chat the tweet that did not make the show, and I just want you to silently react, or just react in general. You'll understand. RN, just a quick disclaimer. RN was gonna be a guest, and he was gonna do this tweet for y'all, and you'll understand what that means here in just a second. So yeah, if you have your phone in front of you, I can't tell you on air what it was.
You're sharing it on Twitter?
Yes, like in
On
the
Twitter
DM.
okay.
In the DM.
Yeah. Okay. No.
I'm not touching that. Not a chance.
This is the kind of thing that would bury all of us. We'd just be done.
You guys would never be guests on the show again.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
It's not a discussion for us.
No. However, when I shared this, when I was, asking for advice from my fellow co-hosts, RN said he would have been happy to come on and guest read it for you guys. But yeah, no, we couldn't do that one. Can't do that one. So we'll get on to the real tweet of the evening. Which, by the way, I'm not going to lie, this one ain't much better. Coming in from Future Wicked, New Jack was mentally ill and everyone ignored it. Dark tone, man.
Oh, wow. What a way to end.
It's a rough one. Yeah, it was a toss-up between this and the Flair one. I feel bad. I feel like I should have flipped him. Recently lost New Jack.
I'm
the line is very thin, right? I think we can all agree on that in regards to one's patterns of behavior and mental well-being. I think I think that's a fair enough like paintbrush statement. Whether or not New Jack was mentally ill, I think he was a product of his environment. I think I think the Dark Side of the Ring episode paints that portrait pretty clearly. I think it's hard to say, like, is there, I don't feel comfortable putting any kind of assessment on that. I really don't know. But I think he is a product of his environment.
Yeah, I completely agree. I feel like broad stroke terms here, just to kind of to walk on the eggshells and play nice in the sandbox. You can literally draw that fine line that Warren was talking about when he had his head injury. Like, you can look at it pre that, post that, and that's all you can do. Those are the only two things you can really look at: how he acted before the injury and how he acted afterwards. Anything other than that, I'm not a doctor. I can't speculate on it. We know the things that he said about why he did the things after his injury, but to say a man I can't touch it. I'm not a doctor. I'm a chef by trade and a mark by choice.
And we didn't know him. We didn't know the guy.
Period.
It's like we weren't close. We weren't friends. We weren't family. We don't know.
Exactly.
And as far as everyone ignored it, I mean, they highlighted his actions, as you said, in Dark Side of the Ring. Did we openly discuss it via the IWC? No, probably because we didn't want to get stabbed ourselves.
It was very different back then as well.
Well, I think he's even referring to after Dark Side of the Ring came out, like now, before New Jack had passed. Nobody with us being so open and talking about mental health, nobody really brought New Jack up in that discussion. Whether his friends and family had those discussions with them or that I can't speak to, so I can't say nobody. You're right, though. We did not address it. We did not consider it. We did not really openly talk about it. As they said, we don't 100% know if it was nature or nurture as far as what happened. Was it after the head injury? Was it a process of this is how he was raised and came up? And we're not doctors. We can't really diagnose that. But whatever the case was, his actions were not discussed as a mental health issue. And if they were a mental health issue, we did ignore it. So, I'm going to,
yeah.
So
since we can't sit on the fence.
Well, I don't. Okay. So for one, this one I wanted to bring up just because there is a good message here. And that is mental health. And I think it's something that we've been talking about more. So this is nothing new to us. It's something that we need to discuss more, man, and praise for being in good health. That way, people obviously don't go overboard, you know. And it's kind of why I brought it on. It was thought provoking, and someone with New Jack, man, it's just a pivotal person. And you're right. A lot of people kind of wrote him off as he was just crazy, you know, and the actions were out there. So that's what caught my eye whenever I saw it, to be honest with y'all.
Mm-hmm.
But, nice awkward silence.
Yeah, man.
Where we going,
I
Kyle?
know, right?
Dead air.
No, future. You brought up a good point. People didn't bring it up enough, and that's kind of why I brought it on as the closer. Although now looking back, it could have gone in the 14 slot. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, way man. Sorry I had to end it on such a low note right there.
That's all. We don't. It's fine. I'm sure Matt will have some innuendo, some delightful innuendo to set us off into the sunset. I'm completely convinced.
Of course.
Right now, you meant right now?
Yeah, Dance Monkey.
Okay. I mean, I said this when I had RN and Jay Thunder of the Smack Raw podcast on. Being name brand cereal, it's always nice to come over here and hang out with Great Value, see how you guys are doing. Appreciate it. Feels good. Tastes the same.
Man.
See? He never disappoints.
Look.
Never disappoints.
Listen.
That's why I'm still married.
Was that a shot at somebody?
No.
Oh, I wasn't sure if like Warren's divorced or something like that. I thought that was like a shot right there.
No. I would never take a shot at Warren Hayes.
To my face.
This was a money shot.
There you go.
Hey, man. Hey,
and
guys,
then you
listen.
take it to the
And there's the innuendo.
There it is. There it is. We worked our way to it. Appreciate you guys coming on, man. It's always fun doing these. Before we go, it's the classic podcast stuff. Now, you guys got anything you'd like to promote? We'll go ahead and kick it off with you, Warren. Let us know what you got going on, man.
Oh, the huge. Every Thursday night, I record my podcast, aptly named the Mr. Warren Hayes Show, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central. YouTube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. It happens without fail, and sometimes there's also prediction shows for pay-per-views. Sometimes there's post shows. It depends. But Thursday nights, 9 p.m. And then you can listen to that on your favorite podcast application as well. You can also follow me on Twitter at Mr. Warren Hayes. Plus, I'm also the co-owner of belltobells.com. That's BELLTOBELL. Wait, how am I spelling this? BELLTOBELLES.com. There we go. Women's Wrestling Wire, women's wrestling, all sorts of fantastic stuff. Go to the website. We have a YouTube channel where I have all sorts of great interviews with all sorts of wrestlers there. YouTube.com/belltobells. Follow us on Twitter at belltobells.
Nice. Will, what you got going on?
All right, guys, always remember, check out Botch Spots and Chair Shots on pretty much everywhere you do anything on the internet. Check out botchspotsandchairshots.com for our blogs and posts. Blogs go up on Sundays and Fridays. Episodes launch on Wednesdays. Check out for Saturdays with our new partnership with Tennessee All Pro Wrestling. So bi-weekly starting this coming Saturday, we're going to be doing live shows and streams from inside the promotion, partnering with an independent promotion here in Nashville.
Nice.
You guys can follow me on Twitter at MattRidder, MattRidder, especially if you didn't like what I said about you want to come yell at me, come on over. We'll have a good time. We'll go back and forth. I'm the host of the Smack and Raw podcast, the #1 wrestling podcast on Pornhub. No, that is not a gimmick. That is a real thing. You can find us there. We just dropped our most recent episode with RN and Jay Thunder of the Smack and Raw podcast. So you guys can go check that out. A very rant heavy episode, which you should expect if you're familiar with RN. So it was fun time. Good. I disrespect a lot of wrestlers by calling them things like Briggs and Jensen. I call Brooks and Dunn because why the fuck not? So if you find that entertaining, come check us out. Have a good time. We're over on Pornhub, YouTube, and everywhere else you guys can find us.
Oh, man. Fantastic. Like always, you guys. Until next time, y'all have a good one.